Hey, what's up, everybody? Cartes here. So, really, I just want to kind of give an update. I made a blog post, made a post on Facebook the other day saying that I will be heading back to South America, Colombia. Have not yet quite decided on whether or not it will be Medellin just yet. I'm going to weigh some options. And the reason for that is because my end goal, it really is to eventually buy a condo or two there in Colombia. And before I make the final decision on whether that place is going to be bought in Medellin, I want to kind of explore some of the other areas of Colombia before I made that final decision. It still may end up doing that in Medellin. It may end up trying to get something somewhere else. I don't know. So I wanted to explore and see what's out there first before I do that. So as of now, the goal is to be leaving here in about 2 weeks. I haven't, again, decided on whether that's going to be Medellin. I'm even entertaining the idea of possibly Mexico. There's a city there called Merida. A young lady, friend of mine, told me about it. And so I'm looking at that. Also very, very cheap. The cost of living is very cheap as well. So everything is unknown. I'm looking at Barranquilla, and I'm probably butchering that word. Probably ain't saying it right. I'm also looking at Manizales, a coffee town in Colombia. Also looking at Bucaramanga, and again, I know I'm jacking those words up. So those are just a few places. Santa Marta, Cartagena, I was considering that, but based on research, everybody talks about how hot that place is. Talked to a few folks that's currently on the ground, and they just reconfirming that. I lived in Florida for a while, and I ain't trying to fool with that humidity every day like that. So, but again, I may go visit just to see, and I definitely will be documenting all of my travels there. So the plan really is to go there for 90 days. For those of y'all that don't know, the wife and I, we're still separated. So I'll be making this trip on my own, and I'll most likely fly back every 3 weeks to come back to hang out with the kids for a week or two. And after those 90 days, once some decisions have been made, then I will, however things work out, I'll either fly them back to see me every couple of weeks, or I may come back to the States every couple of weeks to see the kids. I don't know, but I'm gonna tell you what, my plan was to do this once the kids finish school. So I got about 4 or 5 years. My two youngest, they'll be done. And so the game plan was just to kind of hang out here until they finish up. And then once they got out on their own at 18, then I will move back to Colombia and live out the rest of my days there. But man, we all the times, I always preach, live in the now, be happy, do the things that you enjoy. And so, right now, like, for example, I'm sitting here in this cemetery, and all of these folks had dreams and plans and goals and visions and stuff to do. And all of those dreams died with them. It went with them. And so I said, man, I might not be here 5 years from now. I don't know what's going to happen. I think about my dad, who passed away 3 years ago from pancreatic cancer. He had all sorts of plans to travel, do things, have fun when he retired, but he didn't make it to retirement. He just gone just like that. And the one thing that this COVID has taught me is that, man, you don't know when your day's coming, because millions of folks have died from this thing unexpectedly. This just came out the blue and folks just died. So I said, you know what? I ain't gonna wait. I'm gonna do this now. I'm just going to go. I don't know how it's going to work out, because, again, as I mentioned, the wife and I, we're still separated. But I ain't going to sit here and try and figure it out. I said, I'm just going to take action, and I'm going to roll, and I'll figure it out. I trust. I've been living long enough, 47 years, to know that somehow, some way, things are going to work out. It always work out. When I look back, the things I try and figure out the most, and that's where a lot of folks get stuck. They trying to figure things out using their rational mind, trying to come up with all sorts of scenarios, and you will never ever come up with all the right scenarios, and you waste time. You get paralyzed. You don't take action because it's like, oh, I can't do this because of that. I can't do that because of this. I can't. But I decided I ain't gonna wait. COVID done took all these folks out. They didn't know they would die. So I said, man, I'm gonna work it out, because that's been my dream. That's my plan, to go back to Colombia and stay. So, but again, I am exploring some other options. And so that's the reason for the urgency. Plus, over the next 90 days, I'm gonna reset, rebrand, try and figure out what I want to do for the remaining days of my life. And again, and whatever I come up with might only last the next 3 years. I don't know, but I just want to sit down and get in a steady place of peace and just try and figure out where my passions lie, what I want to do, and just sort things out. So that's really the main thing for the next 90 days, is just kind of finding myself and finding my way, and just doing some things. So, I mean, so there's gonna be a lot of ups, twists and turns. I don't know how it's gonna play out. My daughter is already asking me, my 14-year-old is asking, can I come back with you on your second trip when you go back for the next 30 days? Can I come? So she's likely gonna come along. And again, like I said, I ain't gonna try and figure it out. I ain't gonna stress myself out. I ain't gonna worry about it. I'm just gonna trust that God is gonna work it out, however he chooses to work it out. And again, if that means flying my kids here to see me every 2 weeks, that's what I'll do. Or if it requires me to go back every 2 weeks, that's what I'll do. So they're still being homeschooled and all of that. So we have that flexibility. So whatever your goals and dreams are, I'd encourage you to do that as well. You know, just plan, just figure some things out. Sometimes, you know, Gary Vaynerchuk, one thing that he often says is be willing to take one step backwards so that you can take 10 or 20 steps forward. You know, oftentimes we get caught up. We want to do things, but sometimes our extravagant lifestyle or our expenses keeps us trapped at that 9 to 5. We're unable to be free to pursue some of these goals. So if it means, hey, moving back in with your mom and your dad and you're 40 years old, do it. If that's going to free up $1,500 a month from your mortgage or your rent, or $2,000 a month, so you can go do some things, or sit down and think, or sit down and start a business, or pursue that thing that you're most passionate about, do it. You can't be worried about what other folks are thinking, because I promise you, a lot of folks got their own problems, and they ain't in no position to be trying to tell you what to do. And oftentimes we get caught up worrying about what other people think. And, you know, for example, my daughter, my wife and I, we kind of got into it. You know, she wants to move to LA now. And she was like, well, I'll sleep in my car. I'll live in my car. And so, you know, the mom was like, you can't live in no car. You can't do that. And so she's like, so the Sky's like, Daddy, can I live in my car? I'm like, I mean, if that's what you want to do, I mean, there's other people who do live in a car intentionally so that they can travel the United States, or travel places like Mexico or wherever, in Canada. And people live in the cars. People live in vans. That's what they do. So there's no right way or wrong way. The only thing that matters is what's right for you. And she's decided that it's right for her to live in her car. Now, is it wrong? Maybe it's wrong for you, but not necessarily for her. She has some particular things she's trying to achieve. And if she's comfortable doing that and sleeping in the RV park, parking a car in the RV park and sleeping in the car, apparently people do it all the time. She showed me the proof. There's thousands of people here, at least I know that in the United States, who purposely do this and travel the United States and live in different cities and towns. So what's right for you? Don't worry about what the other folks are thinking about. Again, they got their own problems. Marriage all jacked up. in debt up to their eyeballs, don't know where their next meal is coming from, don't know how they're going to pay their next mortgage bill, car about to be repossessed, kids, rebellious, don't listen to them, to the parents. So these folk got their own problems, and I promise you, they ain't thinking about you. They might think you're crazy, but they too busy putting out fires in their own house to be worried. So you got to do what's right for you. Now, a lot of folk probably ain't going to agree with my methods for just up and going, but again, I have a vision of some sort of strategy on how this is going to work out. The next 90 days is a temporary thing to set things in motion. And again, I don't know how this is going to play out, but I'm not going to sit around and wait and try and convince myself that I'm making the wrong decision, or if I don't make this decision, I'm just going to go. So I'm going to be updating you on everything. I got a lot of stuff to do in preparation for this trip. I got to check out some banks to make sure my existing bank, there's no international fees every time I use my debit card. Some of these places, when you're in other countries, every time you swipe, there's like a $3 or $5 fee just for using the card in a foreign country. So I got to get all that resolved, check my banks. I got to renew the kids' passports because their passports were only good for 5 years. I got to, there's a whole bunch of stuff I got to figure out. So between now and the 2 weeks from now before I take off, I will give you regular updates. I will let you know what I'm doing as I look at properties, not properties, but places to stay in Medellin or wherever I decide on. I will update you on that. I will show you some listings that I'm looking at online. And again, I'm just going to document and show everything. A lot of stuff, in fact, my previous channel was deleted. Google deleted my channel, then deleted all my videos. I was able to retrieve the channel, but all the videos are gone. So I'm going to have to start from scratch. And so, in fact, below this video, I'm going to have a link to, I guess, the new channel that I will set up. It'll probably be my channel, Cartes Ross YouTube. I'm going to have a link to my site, because again, I'm not certain if it's going to be Medellin just yet. So I'm just going to put everything under one place so that if y'all want updates and want to follow along on this journey, you can. So that's it, man. Again, figure out what you want to do, and just kind of work backwards. Don't overthink it. And I just trust that the process will work itself out, but you got to move. You got to take a leap. And for some of y'all, that might be, hey, I want to surf the best beaches all across the world. What's stopping you? It may require you to give up some of your luxuries in life so that you can do the things you truly enjoy. I'm finding that much of the things that we pursue after in life, material things, big houses, fancy cars, cause us unnecessary stress and cause us to struggle unnecessarily because we got all of our monies tied up in this stuff, where at the end of the day, it has no meaning to us. It's meaningless. It's pointless. We're all going to die, just like these folks are, and none of this stuff comes with us. And if, it's pointless. It's meaningless. This stuff is meaningless. All of these folks, man, they had dreams. They had goals. Many of them didn't fulfill those dreams, did not fulfill those goals, did not get to do the things that really make them happy because they were caught up in pleasing and doing things for other people's benefit versus their own. We're going to die. So I'm going to live it up, create a bunch of memories for my children, and, and have some fun myself before I check out of this world. The day you were born was the day you started dying. Every day you're getting closer and closer to death. So, man, make it meaningful, man. Because, again, these folks and all these folks who died fooling around with this COVID, nobody saw that coming. They had plans. They didn't expect to get sick. So, man, do you. Be happy. Get some time in for yourself. And a happy you, a better you, makes a better person for those all around you. So, man, let's do this. I'll keep you updated. Look at the links below. Click them so you can follow along on this journey, get updates and whatnot. And I'm going to sign off. couple of weeks, I'll be out.